maybe it's actually
Was du dich auch hier spaziert? Und jetzt legst du hier 2,50 Meter unter mir. Und die Russen werfen mich zu dir.
Oh my goodness, was I streaming before? Just work. Just work out. Huzzah! Oh my gosh. Okay. Hello. Hey. It's been a while since we've done this. Yes. Oh man. This is your favorite song. Can I hear this song? I don't know. This is just free stuff. It's probably your favorite song. Is the music really this is a whole new setup. Keeping with tradition, like change every single time I stream. Every single time I stream. Is that helping me? Echo? I'm gonna pause the music for a bit so maybe we can just audio went out, but oh no, I'm muted. Anything? Gah. Fixing. Is this any better? Hello? I think we might have something. Hola! ¿Cómo están? Oh, this guy's funny. Oh, man. Echoing is still in the back. Why must you echo? Does this do anything? Is that echoing still? Audio is better, but added an echo. Okay. Was there a time where it wasn't echoing? Let's see. Is this better? It was gone immediately after you unmuted. No. Yes, is this it? Is this it? Do I echo? Huzzah! Oh man. Oh, I'm gone now? No. Turn off your sound on. I'm not using. No echo. Yes. Okay. We're not going to touch anything. And maybe we'll just work. Sounds great. Okay. Whew. Oh my gosh. This has been like the most stressful thing. I swear I deal with this every time and I find my settings and they're perfect. And then I come back on and they're totally jacked up again. So we'll just make sure we're all set up here. How's everyone doing? Hello, Matt. I've been a fan of yours since you released that Skull Robot and Rabbit course. Hey, thank you so much, Dark Knight. Yeah, that was a fun one. I'm just happy. I'm just happy I'm here doing stuff too. It's been way too long. I feel a bit rusty when it comes to like everything. I'm just grabbing my the concept. This is going to be from a concept artist by the name of Guillermo Esteban again. And I thought I had the concept saved, but I did not. There she is. Okay. I'm going to just take this, snip it here. And save this so we can actually use it. Oh boy. Okay, give me a second to just set up real quick. I'm gonna try the music again, but not change any of my settings and see if anything changes. And I'm gonna skip whatever we were listening to because that was a bit weird.
The following audio was from a live
Ooh.
session recorded at the studios of KVU Community Radio in Portland.
Yes, Harry Mandibles, I'm back in POG form. Okay, I'm gonna bring up the concept for this. And what I like to do is I like to just add this to just kind of in my light box, just floating, so I can reference it and use it, but also just kind of quickly move around it without worrying too much. The one important thing when you're doing this with the Lightbox version is basically just making sure that you turn off spotlight projection, which is right here. And then we should be good. We should be good to go. What fun. Am I going to be using the 2021.6 features? Yeah, probably, maybe. I don't know. I might give it a shot. Honestly, I haven't had too much time to dive into the last updates features. I'm using the latest ZBrush, but I haven't really had too much time, just kind of working in my regular formats. So now I'm just trying to figure out where do I want to pick up. I think I'll just keep going with the hair on this, and just keep sculpting away. Let's see. There we go. This has been one of my favorite brushes as of late, this DC Knife Sharp. I think it's part of the clay, kind of a clay sculpting set that an artist was selling through Gumroad. Do I ever miss working on Disney Infinity figures? Do you ever think it'll make a comeback? Oh man, that's a great question. I miss working on Disney Infinity all the time. I think I've said this multiple times, but that was like a dream project to work on. And the team that we had at that time was just so cool. The experience that we got to be able to really push how well we made those characters was awesome. It was just so cool. So I miss it all the time. Do I ever think it'll make a comeback? Maybe. I don't think it will. I would love to see it, but it's got to be the right team, because it wasn't just some artist coming around to make random characters. Those characters were designed by some of the best concept artists out there. The level of thought and detail that went into those was just amazing. They sort of have a good toy box figure, just doesn't have the same appeal though. Yeah, those toy box figures, they're cool. I mean, it was nice to see some of them have a rebirth and get repurposed, which was fun. But yeah, they just didn't have the same love that the characters had. What did I use for this? I'm trying to think. Looks like I used probably Dylan Ekren's hairbrush for this. I think I'll probably keep doing that. That's fun. Ooh, actually, some of the new curve features or the stroke features on this is going to be fun to play with. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple ways I could try using the new block-in features. Am I echoing still? Hello? Hello? I feel like I'm echoing still, but maybe it's just, maybe I have my audio on again. Nope, that's not it. Okay, no echo. We're good to go. Okay. FX or renders FX says there's no echo, then we're going to stick with that. Stroke. We're going to change our modifiers. So what I do is I flip, because naturally when you start, it tapers the wrong way from start to finish. So I flip what I'm doing here. Just flip the vertical, and then I add just a little roll off, so it gives a nice taper. So now these cool new stroke features, these curve features. So we've got bend start. So if I click on anything lower than the bend, it will basically stay the same, which is cool. Bend end, so that will stay there. Oh yeah, okay, okay. Oh, now I want to bend start. And I like using this elastic as well. I think elastic is just kind of fit the right mood. The new features are fantastic. I actually am really excited to get into like the block-in workflow. I figured for this one, I'm not going to do that as like, you know, I've played around with them a little bit, mostly on my Surface Pro, not my Surface Pro, my Wacom Mobile Studio Pro. So I've been mostly just trying to get a good mobile feel for how to block in, because that's what I've been using ZBrush mostly in, as my mobile tablet. So I'm looking forward to trying out some of these new things, but haven't quite had the time to really mess around with it, and figured I didn't want to do that tonight. ZBrush would ever come up with its own line of figures? Any plans on getting on new Gumroad tutorials? I'm going through the motorcycle guy one. Oh, awesome. So yeah, I've actually got a series coming out hopefully soon, that should come out within a month. I'm optimistically hoping that it comes out within a month. It's a little bit different from what I've done in the past, but hopefully it's enjoyable and useful. I've got a few different things that I want to try out, as you know, I just like to, you know, continue to change how I'm teaching. So gonna take that snap off. Oh, the repel strength, huh? Gotta play around with that repel strength a little bit. I think some of the biggest tips that I have for like doing hair with curves like this is just making sure you don't have, I see a lot of times that people will draw out the curve and the curve will be really dense like this. Which are not dense, I mean like the amount of times that steps gets really like the change from black to white or red to black is really, really dense. And so it makes the topology for it really dense, which actually makes it really hard to control when you're sculpting. And it actually makes it really rough. But if you bump up your curve step to that, this is a lot more manageable and also will make a lot better curve. It'll be a lot smoother curve. So I actually really like that portion. Hey, thanks so much, John Doe. Yeah, I love making them. I wish, the one thing I think I wish I spent more time on during this crazy pandemic season is making more courses, but it's been really draining, I guess, to, live in a constant Groundhog's Day. So, but we're getting through it. We're doing just fine. Oh. Now I'm getting like super hot. I'm gonna take off this jacket of mine. My camera froze. We're gonna try to reboot that camera, see you can see my ugly face. No. Oh my goodness. Hold on there. I'm being attacked. Okay, let's reboot that camera. Okay, reboot it. Oh, something that I should start playing around with is just curve with alpha. Oh, that's probably the best thing out there. I do like these new curve features, though. I think the things that I'm still wanting to see updated from Pixologic is the Z-spheres, like Z-sphere rigging for posing and stuff. I think could use a good revamp. And I'm just saying this is like ooh, hello there. Z-sphere rigging, they've come a long way with polypaint. I've really enjoyed what they're not the latest features, but they're somewhat newer than they were. Apparently I've got to take a course on how to make that line again. I mean, again, with most of the features, I feel kind of like an old duck in a pond. Take that snap off. Where I love the new features, but it doesn't necessarily change too much of my workflow. Is like a lot of what I do is more traditional sculpting. I mean, the new balloon masking stuff, that's actually going to help a lot. I'm back, Diablo 7. Oh man. So, do you think there is life underground on Mars? Of course there is. How do we not already know this? Like, this is a... Yeah, of course there is. I'm surprised that, like, there's any question. I want the new rover or whatever to, like, go climb the Mount Face of Mars. Like, I know it's a big face, and I know that it's probably not a face, but it definitely is a face, right? That's how he gets his potions. Can you give us a teaser of your upcoming tutorial? I think it's gonna be top secret still. As I'm not gonna lie. This next course is not like anything that I've done before. So it's just whoa. It's just different, and I just want to make sure that, you know, I do a lot of like internal testing and reviewing before I release any of my stuff. It's kind of the reason why everything takes so long, is because I refilm things quite often. So with this, I'm just trying to make sure it feels right. But yeah, we're gonna keep that one under wraps for now. It's a face. The fact that NASA went out of the way to airbrush the... Yes. It is a face. So I'm just waiting for, like, you know, some monster to come out and grab the rover, and, you know, and then we'll be like, oh no. I mean, really the only thing... Actually, it's not even the only thing. From all of this crazy pandemic is like, oh, now we just need aliens. We had aliens, and people were like, oh yeah. You know, like, what was it? The Pentagon released all these things like, yeah, we actually have a bunch of information returning, you know, about UFOs, and we're going to release all this undocumented stuff or declassified stuff. And yeah, I guess they've been around for a while, but nobody cared. Bob Lazar is over in the corner like, I was right, you see? And nobody cared. Everyone was like, oh yeah, but like, I'm tired of wearing a mask in the grocery store kind of thing. So that's one thing that I thought was funny. We have aliens, like confirmed UFO stuff, and nobody cared. Why are your courses cheap according to others? And do you have a Discord? Are my courses cheap? I thought I priced them more on the higher end as far as like some of the stuff that's on Gumroad, but maybe they're cheap. You know, I think they're a decent price where they're going to appeal to people who are more serious about what they want to learn, but they're not out of reach for everyone. So, I mean, I put a lot of time into each one, as I was talking about. You know, they're not like quick. I, shoot it, talk a little bit, and that's it. I put, 3 times the amount, at least 3 times the amount of recording time, probably way more than that, actually. Into it, and so I price it. But I price it to the point that I think, oh yeah, I'd get that. But that's kind of how I view things. Like, if I would get it, then maybe someone else would get it too. Cost of it. Are you currently working as a freelancer or with a studio? So I am currently working with a company known as Epic Games. So I'm a character artist with them, working on Fortnite characters, and having a blast. Like, it is such a fun team to work on, to be on. I was working on a different project. So, the funny thing is, like, when we were doing Disney Infinity stuff, I was posting probably a little bit more and doing a lot more. And the funny thing is I'm probably now doing, this is making me angry. I'm probably, over the past few years that I've been with Epic, I've been with Epic Games 5 years now. This is insane. I've never been at a company so long. I normally kind of get the bugged itch to go somewhere else, but I really have enjoyed Epic. So, anyways, like with Disney Infinity, I was posting quite a bit because we had characters coming out all the time. It was a year cadence, and for 5 years, I've probably made a crazy amount of characters that no one will ever see, probably, and that's just the product of working on development projects and stuff that may or may not see the light of day ever. So, but it's been a lot of fun either way. How many hours on average do you spend on one character sculpt? Too much, probably. Let's give this gal some pants. What is... Oh, was I making the jacket? I'm trying to figure out, like, this has been a while since I've been on this character. Let's pick up on this jacket. Yeah. Flip. So I would probably say, like, as far as the Disney Infinity characters go, we did about, I think it was probably 3 months per character. Maybe it was a little bit faster. Honestly, it's hard to remember. But it's, if I was going to work full time on one character, it would probably take at least a month or two. Like from start to finish, full production. Start widening this jacket out, this baggy jacket. This may be a jacket that I'm just going to rough in, and then when I get to the pose, it'll be something that I'll actually spend time getting those folds just right. But probably just try to get the overall shape of it, and then I'll sculpt it when I'm actually posing. Everyone needs to know that aliens are real. Flip. Yeah, they do. Sergio. First real contact with aliens will be a false flag. We'll straight up Alan Moore Watchmen. Yes. Well, of course it's going to be a black flag. They're going to first it's going to be a push to, what is it? Project Blue book, Project Blue Light, which is, this thing where they're trying to do these astro projections, like huge giant holograms, and just if they can correct that, get that technology, then yeah, they'll definitely do some black flag stuff. No question about that. I have a week for a character. Oh, that's really fast. Do you mind sharing a bit of how to get the job for Epic Games? Let's see if I'm missing that. How long does it take to model a Disney Infinity character? Which was your favorite to work on? I think my favorite to work on was still one of the first ones that I got to do, which was Merida. And I think I've talked about that before, about how her hair was just this puzzle. And it was exciting to work on just because it was really quite different. And it was like, how do we get this to work in a 3D space, and not just a 3D space, but also a physical space of like, okay, well, one, we've got to figure out can this be manufactured, and feel light and fluffy. So she was just a lot of fun, and I love Merida. I love Brave. That was one of my, and yeah, at that time was one of my favorite Pixar movies. Besides, like The Incredibles and Ratatouille and all that. But let's pull this back just a little bit, and this back, and then this back. Do you mind sharing how did I get a job for Epic Games? So what I recommend, if you're looking to get a job, and this probably goes for any studio, not just Epic Games, but is figure out the company that you want to work for, and then figure out what you need to do to work for them. So if we backtrack on how I got the job at Epic Games, I can backtrack to 10 years ago. I mean, 10 years ago, I was just starting off my career in the 3D world. I was at my first my first game studio job. And, I wanted to be a character artist. In Salt Lake, we had at that time only 5 game studios in Utah, and Epic Games was one of them. It was known as Chair, the company, but they were already known to best quality, awesome team, really cool work environment, and they were just all stars. I knew the artist, I knew the art director, I knew who he was. I didn't know him, but I followed him, and luckily we had it was an industry softball league, within the 5 game studios in Utah. Someone, they put on a little softball league, and our studio that I was at, I should say, was really small, and so we had we couldn't make up a full team, and the Epic Games Studio, Chair at the time, was also really small. They had a handful of people too, and so they invited us to play on their team, and so we played together, which was really cool and fun. And then afterwards, they invited us to a company party because we played softball, so now we're tight. Um, and so at this party, I'm like, I need to talk to the art director and I need to say, hey, so my whole goal at this company party was find the art director because I knew who he was and I was a big fan of his work, and I knew that that was the place that I wanted to be at. Even with Disney, even with all the other, EA was there. I wanted to work for this company because I just really respected the art director, and so what I did was I purposefully sought him out at this party, and I bumped into him and said, "Hey, hi, I'm a big fan of yours. Just wanted to let you know that. Also, like, I really would love one day to work." And I didn't say I wanted to work now. I said one day I would really want to work at your studio. And how do I? I'm just getting into the field. How do I get in? How do I one day work for you guys? And he said, yeah, just send me an email, send me your portfolio. And my portfolio, was a beginner portfolio. There wasn't anything like great about it. It wasn't horrible. It was enough to get in the industry for sure. But it wasn't like, next level stuff. And so what he did, and he was really nice about it. A great artist by the name of Adam Ford, he's fantastic character artist and fantastic art director, like has just a great eye for things. He sent me a list of, hey, this is what we look for in our artists. And this is probably like the best response that he could do. He said, we only hire senior artists. We have a minimum 5 years experience. And you need to be a senior, he kind of list out like 5 bullet points, like of big bullet points that wasn't going to happen in 1 year or 1 day or one project. And so I was like, okay, great. I'll talk to you in 5 years. And so, from that time, I kind of had that in the back of my mind that like, okay, I need to hit this requirement. And as soon as I do, I'm going to reach out and apply for the job or see if they're interested. And so 5 years down the road, I'm now working at Disney. I'm 3 years into working at Disney, and I just got a promotion to senior artist, and I immediately went over and I messaged him and I said, hey, I would be interested in a new opportunity. Do you remember me? I'm now hitting those bullet points and would love an opportunity to work with you if I could. And, he was really nice about it. He said, oh, awesome. I do remember you. And, said, hey, let's do this. Let's meet. And so we met, for lunch, and, I guess the rest is history. And he kind of was really impressed that I had hit the bullet points that he laid out all those years ago. And so what I would recommend to anyone wanting to work at Epic Games or any studio is, one, learn what they're looking for. If I want to work on a game like Fortnite, I'm not going to do a bunch of hyper realistic stuff, but I'm not going to not do that because I know that Epic Games also does hyper realistic stuff. But I'm going to learn what they want and what their requirements are, even if, I'm not at that point. And then I'm just going to put that away, and everything that I'm going to do is kind of goal set to get to that point. And I think that's probably been my motto through all of my career is goal setting. All the big achievements that I've done throughout my career is because I've been very goal oriented in what I do with my free time, to kind of push myself to the next level, because none of that's going to happen if I'm not constantly changing the horizon. So I hope that's in a long way that answers your questions. Just learn what the requirements are and then work. Hey, I got it to work. Thanks, Ashley Adams. I hope everyone knows A Cubes around here. I mean, I'm sure she's the flippin' rock star. She's the mother flippin' is what we say. Yes, thank you for helping me get that going because that's just me. Just if it's not going, it's because the government doesn't want me here. Late night lurker, yes. Let's see here. What are some of the Fortnite characters I worked on? So, oh goodness. So as I said, like most of the characters that I've done for Epic Games have not been seen or probably will be seen. But so I'm fairly new to the Fortnite team. So the character that I did for Fortnite, let's see if I can find it. I've got some more coming out soon. But I really only have. I mean, I did a lot of the pets early on. We were just jumping on. A new tab. Okay, you guys ready for this? This is my Fortnite character. So his name is Mincemeat. He was a Thanksgiving Day character. So he's a mince meat pie. But he's cool. He's a lot of fun to make. So I did the high poly, the low poly, and the texturing for this guy, and he was a lot of fun. So let's see. Oh, thanks. Do I have IG to follow? Yeah, so if you look at that, oh, I guess I'm not even, you know, I do have an Instagram to follow. It's Matt, or no, it's not. I don't even know my Instagram. This is my Instagram, the Redbeard. The _Redbeard, and I've got some stuff. I think I did post about mincemeat on there. But yeah, you can find all my sketches on here, my random, you know, drawings of myself as a merman. Where is it? No, there. Where? Anyways, there's Mermat. There he is. I draw pictures of myself that's very realistic. Anyways, I should really update some of my stuff so I'm more accessible to be fun. But obviously, I've had a touch with how to do things. My camera's frozen. Flippin'. Hold on. My voice went down a few octaves. It got deeper. Maybe that's the what. It's, you know, the later it gets, more deeper I go. It's like it's a metaphor for life. So you get deeper when you get later in your life. So if this were Ashley, she would be done by now with a full character and probably like a giant beast to be riding on too. But I've already mentioned this, I'm slow, so yeah, so what I'm doing right now is I'm just blocking this, and I'm probably not going to add much more detail to what I have. Oh, is my camera still broken? Goodness gracious. Anyways, well, if you can still hear me. Yeah, I'm just kind of blocking in things, and when I get this posed, I'll probably start adding in like the real detail. Same with the shirt. And Paul's going to be so happy that I switched to right-click navigation. But now that I do right-click, I do this every now and then, and I touch something that makes it want to go into a different mode. Oh, goodness. Oh, am I up again? Hey! Unfrozen. That's good. How much time were you given to complete a character epic game? You know, I think, again, I'm still new to it. I think we get about a month and a half to 2 months, maybe. And again, don't quote me on that because I am really fairly new to the team. So it's probably wrong with the stuff that I'm telling you. I'm very factual. I think I had my posters like, okay, so like, never mind. I'm not gonna share that story. Anyways, the team's awesome. It's been great. It's a lot of fun. It's definitely a different sort of challenge, but it's great. Sculpture 3D, how's it going? I'm guessing she's probably got like high-waisted pants with ankles. We'll accept that. Ooh. We will almost keep crypts on. So what I'm doing here is I've done an extract to pull out the area for the legs, and then I'm just doing a quick ZBrush to get clean topology that can start to block out pants. And I'm gonna abort that. Let's do a quick save. I feel like this is the time where if you're doing something, you gotta save it or die. Okay, now I'm gonna keep groups on, turn my smooth down, and ZBrush and just see how it goes. This character you're working from is a concept. No, I didn't draw this. This is by a character artist named Guillermo Esteban. Fantastic character artist. Let me share his info. I think I'm better at plugging artists other than myself. Oh, I didn't keep the groups. Okay, that still works. Oh, calm down there. Whoa, what happened there? I'm gonna try that again. Actually, we're gonna try a couple things again. So, this is Guillermo's page. He's a concept artist, a character artist behind this. He does some beautiful, beautiful designs. Like, He's probably one of my, right now is probably one of my favorite character artists. Like, look at this. So good. So good. I mean, just fantastic. Just great shapes. I think what I love about him is his unique shapes that he has. Like, just great forms, solid, strong forms. Just different. Anyways, check him out, follow him, love him. Do I do the poly paint at Epic Games? Yes. So for that mincemeat guy, I mean, I guess we didn't use poly paint for him. It was mostly it was all substance painter, you know, for the textures. So keep groups smooth. Okay. So the only time that I'm doing poly paint is more for look dev stuff, where we're developing the character and we're getting it approved by art directors and things like that. So we'll do like a quick poly paint, but it's not going to be final texture by any means. What is this? What's going on here? There's got to be some funky. Oh, there is some funky. Look at that. Okay. I'm going to turn off key groups and see what happens. So it's more just for looked out to like sell it, because, you know, just texturing and substances is just a little bit more painterly control. I mean, I really like painting, and when doing my own stuff, I'll paint. It looks better. I'll do most of the painting, and I think some of the most underutilized poly painting stuff is this stuff here, this alpha texture. So this is something that I never knew, and something that I probably like use a ton is like, or that I had wished that I had known, because I mean, let's do a quick little ditty. Let's poly paint with an airbrush. Well, let's fill it with a midtone. Just a quick, let's do a quick poly painting. Quick tips. So let's say we're painting skin, and I want like, this is a pretty pink skin. I want to start like building up the foundation or the blush or something. And sometimes if I go in with like a red, it can come off. I don't want to use airbrush. Why am I? It can come across like maybe a little bit too disconnected between the two colors. But this, changing your modes, the type of painting that you're doing. So if you hover over poly paint mode, you've got these 5 modes, which is awesome. So one is like, oh goodness, I'll try to just not hover over this. Anyways, or I guess I can hold control. Nope. Hovering over this, like one is just your standard. This is painting 100% opaque, pretty much over 100% opaque, depending on how much you change your RGB intensity. It's just opaque on top of opaque. But for blending and stuff, you've got a bunch more different options I've never tried, like that I didn't realize were there. Like the colorize. You know, you're getting into like almost Photoshop like painting layers. So if you're used to painting in Photoshop like I am, or other painting things like Procreate, all of a sudden these options are out here that I have to multiply. So if I want to add like occlusion to this to help make it kind of pop a little bit, I'm going to change this to my third and go, instead of just painting it dark, whatever this is, I can actually almost just paint the same color on top of it, and it's already like, if I'm going dark, it's just painting my occlusion spots But also this is really important. So if I do go in and I'm adding in blush, you know, if I'm adding in blush to this character, you know, maybe making, you know, bringing out some earth tone or some natural tones to the character, and you know, this is, you know, really quick and slow, you know, not meant to be actually used. Let's say I have this, but now I want to go in and maybe add makeup on top of this to make it feel like real makeup. What you want to do is have it feel like it's almost a blend on that. So if I'm going to now add a dark eyeshadow to this character, I can go to like different, like let's say she has purple eyeshadow. So I can go to like a, you know what, actual purple. And instead of painting in like this, which is going to completely cover it, I can go to my blend mode, just 3, and it will actually blend really, really nice on top of it. It's hard to see, but there is a difference. So this is the blend mode compared to, if you go to just regular paint, this is just a lot, you're not getting that underneath. You see how this is like darker, it's the same color, but this is like a solid purple, where this is blending the reds that we painted in and the skin tone that we're painting in to get more of a natural, like this is actually going to look really nice if I use that as eyeshadow, versus this is going to just look like paint, like thick paint instead of like a transparent thing. So that's always fun. I like using multiply. I like using colorize, you know, to like bring out a little bit more of different colors to make them more vibrant. What was 4 again? 4 is lighten. Like if I'm bringing out, you know, some natural highlights, if I can go in with like a big yellow and then, you know, make things almost glow, which is fun. But it's a lot more than just, you know, I'm not losing some of that opaque, like the ambient occlusion that I painted in earlier, the, you know, the skin tones that I painted earlier. This is now just multiplying on top. It's almost like working in Photoshop layers, which I've wanted, but just straight poly paint. And I can switch this really, really quickly. You know, darken, same color as just dark. It's really, really powerful and effective. And some of my favorite unutilized tips, I think, that I've, you know, never used. Is my voice super deep right now? Honestly, I have no control over what I'm doing. I think my audio is like all over the place. So trying my best. Is this the new ZBrush? Yes, it is. But this paint mode has been in there for a long time. I think it's been there for years, and I've never known about it. I think I just figured this out last year. I saw someone talk about it. Oh, good, my camera died again. Yeah, this is like the ZBrush gray materials. He's got a bunch of them, and I circulate them quite a bit because some were a little bit more diffused. This one's a little bit more specular, but they just always have a good contrast. Like nothing's ever way too much anything. So let's see if I can fix my camera though. Uh-oh. We're going to try to fix that later. You sound like Will Ferrell in Old School retakes the translator dart to the neck. do I stream on my own? Right now I'm just streaming on Pixologics. I do have plans. I'll give this that part of my upcoming tutorial releases is kind of revamping what is part of the Redbeard tutorial packages. And the one thing that I've always I would say that one thing that I've always felt is lacking on my courses, and this is like my own self realization, is the lack of feedback. And I give feedback to people who reach out to me, or when I have time. I really, something that I've tried to do, but again, it's not something that is included with any of my courses, but it's something that I've really wanted to start having in my courses. So what I'm going to start doing, and this is the first, you guys are the first to hear about, oh my gosh, you guys are so awesome, is that I will be doing a Redbeard review night, which will be free to anyone who's purchased any of my courses. And what it is basically I'll just get on Twitch, and anyone can watch, but the people that can get feedback are those who've purchased my courses, and I will go in and review what people are making from my courses. Whether it's from my courses or not, I'll be able to review it and some artistic feedback. Something that I kind of did a little bit when I was streaming more on my own, but just haven't been streaming very much, I guess. I think these pants are too high is what I've decided. So I'll be starting to do that pretty soon. I'm hoping that will be, I'm going to start doing that. And I don't have a Discord. I think someone asked that later. I'm sorry I didn't answer that. I don't have Discord. I think that's going to be part of this, is starting a Discord channel and kind of getting ramped up in that. Actually never used Discord, but everyone keeps saying, oh, you should do a Discord channel. I say, oh yeah, I should. I should also do the non-fungible tokens. What's that? Give me your Twitch and Twitch link to my own channel, please. Oh, okay. Let's see. This is my channel. I guess that's just me. I'm the Redbeard art. So I guess this is my channel. Yeah, no straight up conspiracy theories. Oh, we should get into. So I got in here. When you say conspiracy theory, do you actually mean conspiracy theory? Because that's. Oh yeah, straight up. What we haven't talked about conspiracies. So we've been talking about art and how to get into things, and that's fun and all, but I think it might be conspiracy theory time. What do you guys think? Can you say a word about the situation, please? Oh, wait, I missed this. You have spent years to master the craft and will earn some money like flower seller. 3D art is very competitive. I don't. Okay, so the Orion, the comment of like maybe it's underpaid. I actually think this is a problem in the art community. I think it's finding the right people to work with. I think there's companies that I've worked for that have undervalued artists, and like they thought, the idea that it was a privilege to work in the community. It was a privilege to work in the industry, in the game industry or the film industry. And I've talked, to a lot of people about this, that it was some sort of privilege. And for that, you're willing to sacrifice not getting paid the right amount of money. So you end up working, okay, well, if I'm going to work on this, and they're not going to pay me very much, but I can do freelance at least. I don't know necessarily how to fix that, but that's to me, I think it's just finding the right company to work for. I don't think that's true in my situation. I think a lot of people get suckered into the air of, it's the industry and you sacrifice for your craft and this is what I've chosen to do. But real companies that value what you are doing will pay you accordingly to what you're doing. So, but again, you have to find the right company that values the art. And that can be hard. I've worked with companies that have done that. Oh, well, you're an artist. And you just love doing this? I was like, yeah, I also love feeding my family. So, hello? I'm trying to see if I can hear it echo on myself. I think I've got a speaker projecting me as well for some reason. But yeah, let's see. I'm afraid with the YouTube algorithm, it might flag the stream for conspiracy theories. I hope it does. My greatest hope. Hey, it's Mike Thompson. Hey, how's it going, man? No, big fan of you. If this is the Mike Thompson that I'm thinking, if it's not, Mike Thompson could be a very regular name. But, maybe it is the Mike Thompson, the artist, who's amazing. Is this the Mike Thompson, the artist? Or, I'm assuming that I know who you are, but it could be someone else. I'm missing all these comments. I would love to be flagged for a conspiracy video. That means I'm on the right track, right? Isn't that the conspiracy? Isn't that how you validate all conspiracies? Is if it gets flagged, then it's got to be right. No, the Bigfoot is a great conspiracy. So Bigfoot, let's see, feeding family, where are you? Some sort of artsy values. Yeah, horrible. Okay, so you are the Mike Thompson that I am a big fan of, then yes. I'm assuming. Stella, how's it going? Oh goodness. Okay, so let's do the let's do the Bigfoot conspiracy. So the best thing about the Bigfoot conspiracy is that really there's no evidence. Okay, let me explain it. I am a lover of conspiracies, not a believer of many conspiracies, though I do believe that there's some sort of Bigfooty thingy out there. I don't know what that means, but there's some great explanations. Anyways, the best thing about Bigfoot is you can go anywhere. You can search on YouTube right now and find dozens and dozens and dozens of expert Bigfoot doctorates of their migrating patterns, blah, 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 blah. But the great thing is that nobody knows anything about the Bigfoot because there's nothing out there. There's really like no physical evidence. It could be a myth. It could be awesome. But chances are that nobody knows really anything. So it's a lot of hypothetical guessing, which makes listening to experts all the more hilarious. Like, this one guy who said, "Oh, the reason I'm the expert of Bigfoot, and I'm a doctorate at Bigfoot University, and the reason that there's no remains of Bigfoot anywhere is because when they die, in 1 hour their whole body disintegrates because they evolve at 17 times the regular speed of man, and which is great. Like, oh, what a fascinating, oh, that sounds awesome. But nobody knows. Like, nobody can say that. Like, also, there's why there are no droppings? Well, because they eat their droppings, of course. Like, nobody knows. So, Bigfoot's really cool. But if you take no account to what the experts are saying and just look at the lore of Bigfoot, because the cool thing about Bigfoot, if you go into it, is studying the history behind the stories and the wide variety of stories from across the world. Like, pretty much every culture across every season of time, there are stories of Bigfoot in one form or another. What's a good topic for the kids? About 20 years, there was a group of people, and everyone was, wow, about 30. Oh, wait. Yes, that's true. Bigfoot, oh my gosh, people in their later time. Okay, so do you prefer a double-sided cloth or extrude for borders? Or that depends on the studios. I think it just depends on the studios. Mostly for game, we're doing just single-sided meshes, and just modeling in a very small thing that you're going to see, the fold and whatnot. But that's it. I posted the link to the Kickstarter to get this stick surgically removed. What? Oh gosh. Anyways, back to Bigfoot. Bigfoot's great. Anyways, so the great thing about Bigfoot is that there's crazy amount of stories from all over the world, from all the different ages, like dating back to like the earliest knowing stories. Like when men started telling stories, there's stories about, big, hairy, hind-legged creatures out there, right? Even if like you go back, and this is like, so I come from a Mormon LDS background, and there's like the stories of the Bible, and I don't know if this is so much in like other Catholic, like Christian churches believe this, but there's the story of Cain and Abel, and Abel is the firstborn or the secondborn or something, and Cain gets jealous and he kills his brother, and then he's cursed to go, and he's like, well, you're cursed in two ways. You're cursed to never die, and you're cursed to be hairy, like be super hairy, and so there's these stories in Mormon lore, which is fun because it's just another lore out there, right? Of like the pioneers that had encounters with Cain, where they were riding on horseback, and out of the bush, out of the meadows or whatever, came running along a giant hairy beast that was eye level with them while they're on the horse. Fun stuff like that. Bigfoot invented Bitcoin. Oh man, he's probably doing real well. I had a funny because I'm a journalist, and one day a UFO guy came to our office and was talking to him. My colleagues switched to an opening theme next month, so I literally bit my tongue and snorted out to laugh. Yes. That's awesome. Awesome. We wouldn't have ZBrush. Yeah, there's no politics here tonight, guys. This is a happy place. Whether what side you believe or what side you're on, no politics tonight. We're just having a happy, fun discussion. Anyways, back to real important things. Bigfoot. So the most credible, I think, theory out there of what Bigfoot was or is, I would probably say goes to this guy who did some work, and anyone's like, listen to me talk about paranormal stuff. I always talk about Skinwalker Ranch, which is not too far from my house. It's like about an hour drive. Actually, I just drove past it last month on our way on a family trip to Colorado. Anyways, so Skinwalker Ranch is this really hyper phenomenon. You know, a bunch of UFO sightings, like in the world. This area in northern Utah is like in the top 10 for UFO sightings. And not only is it UFO sightings, but it's everything. It's UFOs, it's, you know, Bigfoot, it's skinwalkers, it's orb and paranormal and ghosts and stuff. Like everything is like this hotbed in this one little area. Anyways, so this researcher, you know, this ranch was bought out by this billionaire, Dan Bigelow, and he set up this multi-million-dollar science facility and paid scientists, like actual real scientists, not like an expert, but real scientists, time to like study, set up cameras and all this stuff to research sorry, I'm just now concentrating on what I'm doing. Make sure I'm doing this correct. Anyways, he spends like all this money on this research facility, and he hires these scientists, and the scientist goes out and he wrote a book. He was there for like 2 years. He goes up there and he studies, and he has all these really, really weird encounters. Doesn't really collect a lot of physical evidence, though. There's a lot of really weird pictures, a lot of really weird audio, a lot of really weird stuff that goes on. Ranch Ram? Oh, I don't know what Ranch Ram is. That Wookiee that crashed in the planet. Anyways, I keep getting off track. So what this researcher, he studies there for a long time. Then he gets into his books. He writes this book about what he finds and his hypothesis. And it's very scientific. It's like, you know, this is like paranormal research from a strictly scientific background, which is really cool because most people know exactly what it is, and the scientist has no idea. And he openly said, you know, like this, I have no idea, which is part of the appeal. And he's like, okay, so here's my stuff. Here's my hypothesis of like what this could be. And one of his hypotheses, he writes 3 different hypotheses of what it could be. But the one that I thought was like the most interesting, one that I haven't really heard of, was like, and he really brings this out because there are a lot of strange connections with places that have a lot of UFO activity, also have a lot of paranormal activity, and also have a lot of like Bigfoot activity. And so he was talking about this one place. There's this one place in Oregon, and I can't remember what it was, but it was similar to Skinwalker Ranch. All these weird things were going on, and there wasn't really an explanation to like why. And what he said was, you know, there's this a lot of known sightings in this one specific area of a threesome of Bigfoot, or a big three. 3 foot. Anyways, he said there was an older Bigfoot, a male large Bigfoot, and then a white, like an albino Bigfoot. And the thing he noted about it is that this white albino Bigfoot has been noted to have a limp. So it was very unique that there's a white Bigfoot that has a limp. And don't look it up. I'm going to look it up. What is it called again? Ram Ranch. I'm writing it down right now. Oh gosh, never mind. Oh gosh. Never mind. Don't look it up. So he talks about this, and he's like, the weird thing about this is multiple people have claimed to have seen this threesome of Bigfoot, and specifically this one white Bigfoot with limp. And he said the weird thing about it is not that multiple people in this area said that they've seen it, but multiple people all over the world in different countries have claimed to have seen this same group, the same threesome, without knowing about, like, this is like early days of the internet, where people just couldn't constantly be bombarded by information. He's like, there's really no connection to any of these other than there's no way that they could have informed each other of what they were seeing. So he came up with this hypothesis, like, okay, so what if these Bigfoot or big feets, and he kind of crammed this all into, like, what paranormal, like, why is the paranormal and UFO and Bigfoot and skinwalkers, like, how is it all related, and how does he make sense of any of this, right? And so he was going into, well, what if they're existing in a different plane of dimension / time, and they have some sort of technology where not technology, but some sort of way where they can travel more or less through time and space and dimension. They're basically living in the multiverse, right? So relaxing to listen to me. So basically they're living in a multiverse where, and this is also explaining, like, the paranormal, like, they're able to travel vast amount of space and time and show up in different areas. And, I think that there's claims of this white albino limping Bigfoot for, like, probably the past 70 or 80 years. Like, people have been saying they've been able to see this, which is, far exceeds the internet claims and stuff like that. But he's saying, so what if that's actually just a Bigfoot that's, somehow they are part of this alternate dimension that's being able to transport or travel through this dimension at different times, and that's why they're hard to see and catch, because they're always moving in and out of things, of these dimensions. But he's also talking about this in ways of, like, okay, paranormal activity. So one of there's a lot of paranormal activity up at these ranches, where, like, they would go in and load all the groceries, put them away, and when they'd leave the room, like 1 second later, they would come back, and everything would be out on the shelves again, like, unpacked. And it was, so what if there's just an alternate dimension multiverse that we can't see that is making these things happen, but to us it's freaky. It's like craziness. It's just, but, paranormal, like ghosts, are actually just things living in a slightly alternate dimension or space and just interacting with us not even knowing. Well, maybe we are the ghosts to them. Maybe we're the ghost to someone else, right? And we have no idea. We're just living in our own time-space continuum here, and we are the ghost to someone else. Oh man, you guys are so glad you came in today. Let's see. Wait, so Bigfoot really is a Wookiee? Yeah, I think he is definitely like a Wookiee. It's a space Wookiee. All right, guys, you have a great night. Hey, thanks for coming by, James. Not to cut you off, but if you love Bigfoot and there is a video game on Steam, it's pretty awesome. Ooh, I'll have to check that out, actually. That sounds awesome. If Sasquatch doing it doesn't make it hairy normal activity. Yes! Zing! Bigfoot helped build all the pyramids around the world, and they're mad because they didn't get paid. Yeah, probably. They came for the character art, stayed for the Bigfoot lore. That sounds about right. Anyways, that's Bigfoot's fun. Like, that's one of the fun. There are what I like to label fun conspiracies and non-fun conspiracies. And Bigfoot's definitely one of the fun ones. For sure. He plays a sax and streams on YouTube. That's probably true. No, I like Bigfoot. He's a fun one. And there's like some of it, half of it's the fun of like listening to the kooks that think they know what they're talking about. But the one thing, and I listened to a podcast called Scared to Death, which is really, really well done. Scared to Death, I would mention that again. But what they constantly say, so what they do on that is they just tell ghost stories, 4 ghost stories or more per podcast, which is a lot of fun. It's really quick. And supposedly true ghost stories. And what they keep saying is all it takes is for one of these thousands and thousands and thousands of stories to be true to make it true, right? To make it real. And so I think about that when I think about UFOs or Bigfoot, of like, it really only takes one. And if you really think about it, we know so very little about everything about Earth, we hardly know what's under the ocean. So who knows what's out there? Cue the X-Files music. If I told you I saw what I think is a chupacabra, would you believe me? Definitely. The chupacabra. So is Portland the most sightings? I don't know if Portland is the most sightings, but I think they have a spot that's really, really high up there. I think that there's a spot in Colorado, just outside of Colorado Springs, that is actually the highest, like the most paranormal sightings, or paranormal, but UFO sightings. I think as far as Bigfoot, I think Portland is the highest, Bigfoot sightings, if that's what you're asking. Yes, probably. I swear in my life I saw something weird, like a chupacabra, though. I couldn't go deep into detail. Oh, man, I would love to hear that story. Oh, man. I like hearing people's personal stories. The funny thing, so I had this idea a long time ago, and it was just going to be a local thing of going around to different places that are, to different places and different people, not necessarily paranormal or not, and just ask random people, say, hey, have you ever had a paranormal or an extraterrestrial encounter? And we did this for a number of people, and I kid you not, probably 8 out of 10 people that we talked to all had a story of some paranormal encounter or UFO sighting or something. Almost every single person I talked to had one, which was crazy, crazy, crazy. Like, how is it like? And it's not just like, as I like to call them, wackos. And I consider myself a wacko. So, I'm a wacko because I'm a wacko. Anyways, these people that I know, like, that I talk to, doctors, business managers, like, all had some creepy story that they wanted to tell me about something that they could not explain. So, like, we know so little, and we don't understand anything. I'm a leprechaun. I wish my cam would work. That'd be cool. It's probably because I'm talking about paranormal stuff. It's not working. That's because the U.S. government has an underground base in Colorado. That's true. They've also got an underground base. I've got a friend told me, so we have a Air Force base out in Utah that's pretty big, and he told me a story of camping out near that base that was his UFO encounter. And I'm not going to share it here because I'd probably get the details wrong, but it was crazy. This is a guy who I'd worked with for a number, 3 years at that time. And he had, he's not a guy who just who tells stories. He's not a storyteller. He's not a guy who BS's things, I guess, or just makes up or exaggerates things, I should say. He's not an exaggerator. He's a very this is how it is, matter of fact kind of guy. And he told me a story about this UFO encounter that he had that was okay, I know you fairly well, and there's no way you're making this up. Okay, I thought I had pre-typed out because I told the story before, but I don't know. So I'll just have to hype it up again. Yes. I was going in my kitchen to get something. I forgot what. And I looked out my window. I live in Austin, Texas. Backyard is super forest. Oddly enough, lots of animals show up. Cool. Yes. Yes. I'm listening. Anyways, I think I had a UFO encounter. If we're sharing stories, I don't know. Looking back at it, I remember it happening, and I was probably 10, young. And so this is why I discredit my own story, is because the memory that I have of it is still vague. It's getting more vague, I guess. But I remember driving with my brothers after a movie, and we were driving home, and all of a sudden there was I thought, in my 10-year-old brain, I thought someone was using a remote controlled Frisbee. And this was 20 years ago, 25 years ago. And so it was just this bright glowing disc in the sky, and then it shot off and stopped and shot off again and stopped. And my brothers are like, yeah, follow it, go, 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 go. And we were following it along this road to try to keep visible of it, and then it just kind of zoomed off. And thinking back, I remember seeing that and thinking, oh yeah, it was just an inflatable Frisbee. But now my adult mind is oh, maybe that was maybe that was actually a UFO. So that was my very discreditable story, I guess. Okay, let's get back to this story. So you can look at this. I've seen foxes, deer, all sorts of random weird animals. Anyways, one night I looked out and saw this weird animal standing outside. It had no hair. Oh gosh, it looked like a chimp, honestly. Oh, I've seen pictures like that. Okay. It was very skinny, hanging skin. It was like it was starving. It had red eyes, and my brain kept saying, okay, that's a raccoon, right? No, okay, it's what is it? Oh gosh. And I kept looking at it, couldn't figure it out. Finally, I started yelling for my brother to come look, and he kept yelling back, what, why, what? So finally, I looked away and yelled, come here. I looked back and it was completely gone, vanished into thin air. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's horrible. That sounds terrifying. So the chupacabra, and there's another thing, I think it's called the Wendigo, right? Which is similar. So they have kind of the same descriptions. Except this one has antlers. I think that's the only difference of like the Wendigo and the chupacabra. This one looks almost kind of like a deerish thing, but this is a cool sculpt on it. But it's supposed to be like this white, hairless, kind of skin hanging off thing. And then, oh man, this is a sidebar, guys. Scared to death. Definitely check these guys out. So this is the podcast that I listen to. And they told a story, and they even talked about it's another creature. I want to find. When was this? This was December, so earlier. Anyways, this is a husband and wife. They, he tries to scare her, then she tries to scare him with these stories. Oh, this is getting closer. So these are just stories about stuff that happened. Wish I could remember. Like this is the ball. It's got some creepy story. Oh, don't look at that. Sorry, this is a tangent, and I only want to bring this up because there was another, like, they're called cryptids. So these, like, the Wendigo, the chupacabra, and like these beasts, these kind of haunted beasts are all known as cryptids. It's like physical animals. I'm not gonna find it. I should try to find the picture, but they tell a story about another beast that looks just like that, except for it has a jaw that has like a dislocating jaw. Dun, dun, dun. Sorry, this is just wasting time. Weird. Anyways, oh gosh. This might be it. No, this isn't it. Anyways, I'll Wendigo, but it wasn't the Wendigo. It was another bird. It was a more, the thing they were talking about was a more modern thing. It was a little bit more modern than the Wendigo or the chupacabra. It was like more modern lore, like a scary pasta lore type of thing, but not as cool as like Slender Man. That's a cool story. Oh, anyways, I'm gonna start creeping myself out. My camera's probably not working anymore too. See, this is weird. Why is my camera not working? I've never had problems with my camera before. Anyways, I think I might start posing her just because I could spend a lot of time working on stuff. I might change the hair. I'll do that all later. So I might just start playing around with like a posing. The feds are trying to silence me. Definitely. Because they're worried about people hearing about Bigfoot in multiple dimensions from an artist. Yeah, I think you're probably right, though. I might do some quick changes to some of this stuff, though. Little changes. Okay. Let's make sure I have low subdivisions on this, or it's gonna not. Huh. Good job. Past Matt. I don't think anything's too high here. I have anything exorbitantly high. So I might as well just start posing and just playing around just for fun. I mean, this is all for fun anyways. So I've got it all saved. What I like to do, I'm very traditional, is I just use my transpose tools and transform master. What other fun conspiracy theories do you guys want to hear about? Okay, so quick notes about posing. Now, right now, when you go into Transpose Master, it breaks everything up into different polygroups, all of your subtools into different polygroups. And what I want to do is make this a little bit more workable so I can quickly grab things and move things and things like that. So the two things I'm not going to be posing in this are the fingers. I want to get a general shape of this, but I'm not really going to try to do too much more. Is my stream really blurry, or is that just my connection? It's probably just my connection. Hopefully it's not. Anyways, so what I want to do first is I want to make sure I can easily polygroup some of this stuff all together. Like I want the head and the neck, all together. Let's see here. So I want this as a polygroup. Control W. And so now I can easily group like the head, the hair, the glasses, the eyes, all these little things that I've already made into one easily accessible polygroup. This isn't going to translate to my high poly. This is just for here. And then maybe one more for the neck, so I can just easily grab the neck. And then I want to start, grabbing the rest of this. So all this, just trying to figure out the best way to group things out. So maybe polygroup all of that just so I can go bonk. 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 And then this stuff. That's going to be hard. Okay, arms. Which I want to do at the same time with the jacket, I think. Yeah, this doesn't have to be perfect at all. It's just, I want quick isolation so I can just move and grab things as quickly as I can. Let's actually do this again because these are all going to go together. So a good area of like where to grab and where to start bending things are is trying to keep the rib cage, you know, your rib cage all together. So that's why I'm separating it into like pelvic bone. I'm gonna just bring that, it doesn't really matter. My pelvic bone and the rib cage, and then like this is going to be my mid torso, you know, stomach, abdomen. So now this should be pretty straightforward of like, okay, well I can pose this fairly well. Now what I want to try to do is just kind of figure out this pose a little bit, because she looks like she's straight on, but you know, she's like sitting straight back, but I bet she has a bit of a tilt to her hips, a little bit of this kind of a swoosh to her. Let's get this camera going again. When would you use edge loop mask border? I would probably do that on the high poly, because this is really just serving as gesture. Like imagine gesture drawing where I'm not worrying about the fine details. I'm worrying about the overall flow of this. The overall flow of this. So what I want to do is not concern myself with trying to make the breaks perfect or anything like that. Really, what I want to do is just imagine how to position this character. So she's going to be sitting back, which means that she's going to be tilted her hips right here. Like if she's got, you know, that's her pelvic bone. She's going to be sitting on that bone, so these legs are going to have to come up. But she isn't probably tilted back just a little bit. So she's sitting right on the back of that bone. And probably leaning more on one side than the other. So sometimes I like to do this and actually split these up. Well, just to make it easier. Because this pose is going to be, you know, completely asymmetrical. So this just helps. So I do one selection at a time. So I'm going to work on, you know, bending those legs up. Oops. And modifying that a little bit. So I placed the gizmo, the 3D gizmo here. Now, I used to really love doing this. The only problem, I wish you could have this work with the 3D, how the 3D gizmo works. Maybe this is something that I'm going to request. This is going to be a requesty from Maddie, from Redbeard. Is I want to be able to make this turn, you know, make this turn and have the this 3D or the transpose line move with me like a 3D gizmo does. So what I mean is, like, when I rotate, the gizmo rotates too. I wish I had that. So that way I can just keep my orientation, because I like to place this stuff, you know, right where the joints are. So you see me blurs and stuff, so there'll be a little bit of stretching. And, you know, this is again for just gesture. There's going to be a lot of correction. Yeah, I'm going to request it, because it would be an awesome feature. Because like that transpose, the only reason I use the 3D gizmo now, like when I'm posing, is simply to have that rotation stick. So again, this is all just for gesture. Let's have the foot dangle there for a bit. So I'm going to have to call it here in the next few minutes. But I will be back in a couple of weeks. Unless the feds get me first, then you know that I've told too much and my theory on Bigfoot correct. Anyways, I hope you guys have had fun with my random talkings, because that's what conspiracy theories are supposed to be, is just fun. Okay, maybe she's cross-legged, sitting down. See, and then it's hard, is like, you know, when you start bending things, this is why I polygroup stuff. To make that selection, it's going to be hard, but because I've already polygrouped it out, I can, oops, Quickly make a selection. Oops, let's go 1. Without having to worry about grabbing stuff that I don't want. I always think we're the aliens. I think we are the aliens. We're the ones who escaped Mars a million years ago when the planet was collapsing. CIA unclassified info astral projection proves. Yes. The funny thing is, there's a great conspiracy theory that that's actually what it is. Like that's what we are. That we are actually the aliens, and that we didn't come from Mars, unfortunately, but we came from another civilization from, millions of years ago, thousands, 100 millions of years ago, and we traveled here in the moon. The moon is not the moon, actually. It's a spaceship. The moon is a spaceship, and we are an ancient. We are an ancient descendant from these celestials, is what they called them, and they sent us here to colonize the Earth and to save their race because they were dying, and so they sent us away, and millions of light years away, and in the moon, and then the moon, which is not the moon, it's actually a spaceship. It's hollow inside and has technology and to fly or whatever. The Cylons, yeah, I think, is that what they're called, Cylons? Anyways, yeah, that we are ancient descendants of these celestial beings. Anyways, that's one, I actually think that's a fun one. Trying to get her slouched just a little bit more. Maybe she has a bit of a twist. We'll add that twist in later. But then who are the ones flying into the volcanoes? Oh boy. That's another one. They say the moon's made out of cheese, but what if it was made of barbecue spare ribs? Oh, I wouldn't even think about it. So yeah, so the idea is that they sent this dying race sent us out, and we traveled for thousands of years, and hundreds of thousands of years, and we stopped and we found a planet that was close to our own. Basically, so the funny thing is this is basically just Superman, the origins of Superman. But the conspiracy theorists think it's so original. Make your slash just a little bit more. It's feeling big. We'll make some big stroke adjustments where resize things and change the proportions on stuff. Her neck's probably still feeling a little thick. So a lot of this is like, as I'm gesturally trying to get that pose, where I'm trying to also notice some things that, oh yeah, I could make some subtle adjustments here. But I also know that some of this is gonna all, like right now her neck is horked. Yeah, because her neck is too thick and it's too big. So, there's gonna be a lot of heavy-handedness coming back into it. But some little fixes I can do along the way. But the idea, like, this is not, again, this is supposed to be a rough and dirty pose. I might just stop there for tonight and I'm going to finish the pose later. Just because I'm running out of time. And I need to go to this. Is my camera is just having so much fun tonight. I don't know. Haven't ever had this problem with this camera before. Oh. You don't stream art on your personal Twitch. I do. I just haven't. I haven't touched my personal Twitch in many moons. But that's something that's, again, hopefully going to be changing soon. So, anyways, I think this is going to be it for me tonight. I really appreciate everyone coming out and letting me talk about random stuff for a long time. So, let's throw this back in our, before we lose it. We don't want to lose it. So I'll be back again in a couple of weeks and hopefully keep it more consistent so we can, finish this gal up and be awesome. Talk more conspiracies. Conspiracies are way fun. So I had a lot of fun tonight, if that means anything. I don't know if it does. Anyways, thanks for coming by. Thanks for your chats and for everything. Hope to see you in a couple of weeks and keep on sculpting. Happy sculpting, everyone. Cheers.